Whoever said bigger is better clearly hasn't driven in Alaska, nor have they climbed many mountain passes. At just over 24 foot long, this beautiful Eddie Bauer Class C is ready to take on your next adventure. Now, while this isn't necessarily a unique floor plan, they did a lot of things in here that I really like. One of them, of course, being the colors we have in here. The overall aesthetic is just gorgeous. Then they did a lot of things like put a bike rack on the back, which we'll see when we go out there, and has huge storage. So it really is just built for adventure. Now, with the Eddie Bauer, the bottoms here are going to be that beautiful Eddie Bauer green, which I like. And if we take a look at the dinette, you actually have really good storage underneath. You can see how much drawer space you have there. This is a dream style dinette too, so it drops down nice and easy. I like that because if you have additional guests, when you can sleep up to 3 additional people in here besides the full bed in the back. You got 2 right up top. It's got an 800-pound weight capacity, and another person here on the dinette. And if you notice, you have 2 seatbelts on this side and 1 on this side, so it's built for those 3 additional passengers. Naturally, you have cup holders here as well for any beverages, as well as wireless charging, and there's an electrical outlet down underneath, because if you plan to do any working, you can sit here and maybe work on the road. If you have that capability, it's comfortable enough, and having that electrical outlet enables you to do that. It's also, of course, big enough table to play board games and things like that. Big window here too. I'm a big window person. I like having a lot of natural light coming into an RV, and this one does a great job with the window here and here, plus in the back, which we'll see in just a minute. And then, as I mentioned, the uppers are all white, and I think that's a great choice. Really helps brighten the space up. Still has like those really nice champagne bronze pulls, big storage there as well. And then, as we can see, we have lights just kind of tucked away right there underneath. Right up above me is the AC unit. This obviously helps keep things nice and cool. There is a furnace in here too, as you'd expect with pretty much every Class C. And then up front, as I mentioned, is that bunk area, or the cab over rather, 800-pound capacity. A couple things of note. One is the fact that it does have cup holders. Also, it has a foot locker right here that you can open up for some additional storage. And then at the foot is the TV on a swing arm, so you can swing that out if you want to be able to watch it here in the dinette. And as I drop down into the cab, there is a couple things I want to show you. Now, this is built on the Ford E-Series. If you've seen one, you've probably seen most. But where it starts getting a little bit different is when we get into the display itself. You know, underneath, you will see that you have your physical buttons to be able to control some of your stereo controls, Bluetooth capable there as well, USB charging ports, cup holders. But on this panel, let me show you a few things. That's actually what I want to show you. But before I get there, I do want to point out the fact it is Sirius XM ready, has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, as I mentioned, Bluetooth. But the 2 important things I want to get at are these 2 right here. One of them is the RV control. So this front panel right here is going to be where you can see your tank monitoring panel there, as well as the propane, and you can turn on the tank heaters as well as your water pump. All of that will be controlled right here. That's right, I did say tank heaters, so if you are out in colder climate, you can feel comfortable knowing that you have those. The next one I want to point out is the fact this one has an auto generator start, and that's something that's going to be a lot more rare on a Class C, but you can see you can kind of set some different settings here based upon when you want it to start and stop. That can be battery level, it can be time, it can be if you have quiet time at a campground, you can set all of that right up front. So it is important to know that, that you have just a little bit of extra control here in the Eddie Bauer. The kitchen in the 22EB is going to be all campside. Now, in a smaller unit like this, unfortunately, we have to sacrifice somewhere, and most of that is going to be in our counter space. That being said, they do at least give you this little pop-up extension here, so you have a little bit of additional room, and on top of the sink, you have the drying rack, plus the 3-burner cooktop is recessed with the glass cover, so you can get creative and utilize this space, but I, much like yourself, I am sure, would like a little bit more countertop space. What you do get in its place, though, with that undermount stainless steel sink, it is going to be pretty deep, which is nice, and you get the high-rise pull-out faucet. And as I mentioned, it is an undermount sink because you have the thermal-formed countertops. They also gave you a 3-burner cooktop, which isn't always the case. A lot of times in an RV this size, they'll just give you 2-burner, so I'm glad they went with the 3. Then if we drop down, even though it isn't a huge kitchen, you have pretty good storage space. Now, not that you're going to store stuff in the oven, although some people do and they don't use it a ton, but the drawer underneath gives you fantastic extra storage space there. And if you take a look right over here, you will see some additional drawers, and if you notice, all of them our slow close. Something else I'm pretty sure I just saw in there, yeah, if you need to find your water pump, by the way, there it is. Extra little tidbit. Helped you out. If we take a look up top, you can see some additional storage here. They do have a shelf already built in this one, which is nice. Nothing crazy here, just a microwave as well as a hood, but you do get a pretty large 12-volt compressor-driven refrigerator. You can see that here. Some additional storage right next to your fuse box, right down below. And then in the back corner is going to be that full-size bed. And as I mentioned, I'm a big proponent of having a lot of windows. This one has a large rear window and a side window to let in a lot of natural light. And because you may have guests, it also has a privacy curtain that you can close off. You'll also have a privacy curtain for the top bunk and one for the cab, so you can close that cab off as well. Of course, storage all the way across the top here, and then storage right over to the side, kind of right outside the bathroom. You can see this is a big wardrobe space. You have the hanging rod up top. Your telescoping ladder stores in here as well. That is so you can easily climb up into the bunk. You have an additional drawer right here. Nothing huge, but it'll definitely work for socks. And you can see that you have your furnace located here. It's a direct vent furnace, but in a RV this size, in my opinion, that's all you really need. You will also see the bathroom in the corner has a little magnetic catch right on the floor there, which is quite nice to kind of open up this space. Now, when I take a seat here, you will see that even though it's smaller, I have decent room. You know, you kind of have to put your right arm right up top on the sink here in order to make it work. Otherwise, it would be a little tight, especially with toilet paper here. But if you throw this up, I think I can make this work, do whatever I need to do, have pretty good movement. It is a porcelain bowl as well, so it's easy to clean. On the wall right here is our tankless water heater control. This one has on-demand hot water, which essentially means that as long as you're not pulling, you know, near frozen groundwater, you will have continuous hot water so you can actually enjoy a shower in an RV. That's something we're starting to see more and more of in the industry, and I'm just a huge fan of it. When I take a step in the shower, good headspace, big skylight. You know, I can probably be another 3-4 inches. I'm 6 foot, could probably be, like I say, 6'3", 6'4". As long as I'm standing under this skylight, could still stand in here, no problem. Then we have the hand wand, just making washing up a little bit easier. Mirrored medicine cabinet here, and then as you can see, our vanity right below that. The 22EB is built on the Ford E350 chassis that houses the 7.3 liter V8, putting out 325 horsepower and 450 foot-pounds of torque. And while that's impressive, my favorite feature on the front end is actually the front cap. The reason being is when it comes to Class C's, normally what you'll have is a seal right here on both sides. And when you're driving in the rain, that rainwater is just going to be driving right into that seal, which is why the #1 place for leaks on a Class C is normally in this cab over. But with this front cap wrapping down and around and being one solid piece, it helps prevent any of that water intrusion. Moving on a little bit further, when we talk about construction, this one utilizes vacuum bond lamination for the walls, the roof, and the floor. On top of that roof is going to be the cross-flex roof membrane, which is going to be more puncture resistant than just about any other membrane out there on the market. But it's not just about construction. It's about drivability. And on the Eddie Bauer, you're gonna get this smooth tech suspension system, which utilizes the rubber shackles in that suspension. And also, it's going to be upfitted by MORryde. And they do a lot of things to help the drivability, like computer balance the drive shaft so you don't have vibration from the front and back ends being unsynced. Now, one of my favorite features on the 22EB is actually this right here, which is the rear wall mounted bike and kayak rack. When it comes to taking this thing out on adventures, this just makes life so much easier, and it's already installed. Beyond that, if you need to tow an extra trailer or a vehicle, you have an 8,000-pound rated hitch right down below with a 7-way already wired. So that way you can just basically plug in and go. Now, if you need to climb up onto the roof, or if you just want to get up there and stargaze, because it is a fully walkable roof, you certainly can. 250-pound weight capacity here on this ladder. And you'll see tied right into that rear marker light up top is going to be your backup camera to give you that added visibility when you're backing up. Now, on the camp side, you'll see some great features too. One, you're gonna have a power awning with LED light, as you would expect, giving you that awning coverage. But one of my favorite parts is the big storage. Take a look at all of this space you get on the 22EB. Now I currently have the power turned off, but there are 2 lights in here, so this is going to be nice and bright and just an absolutely massive space. So that way, you can take a lot of that gear with you. You will also see you can fill fresh tank. You have a gravity fill right over here, electrical outlet, and some additional storage right down on the bottom here. Open this one up just to kind of show you. You'll see that it is rotocast in there, so it is nice and easy to clean. And anytime you have storage on the camp side, it's going to be a big win just because of the easy access. As I mentioned earlier, I love windows. I also like the fact they put a window in the door just to help bring in some of that natural light. And as we take a look at the off-camp side, right down here will be your propane connection, so you can fill up your propane tank nice and easily. And then coming down a little bit further is going to be the 4,000 watt generator. So that way you can be basically fully self-sufficient and run everything in the coach. Tankless water heater to be located there, outside shower, so you can quickly and easily wash anything down. Cable inlet here, 30 amp plug-in, fuel fill, nice easy access to our terminations right down below. And then lastly, black tank flush and city water inlet. With its huge storage, 24-foot length, and space for 3 passengers, this one's definitely ready for adventure. But if you want something a little bit bigger, maybe you want to put your bikes and kayaks inside, then check out this one I have coming up next.